Welcome my friends to another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. This time we're taking a look at Dimension Police Standard. Of course, Dimensional Robos, I guess like Dimension Police Neural because there's only one build right now because Standard. So we're going to get right into it. Starting off with the starter, it's just Dimensional Robo DAIYUUUUUUSHA. When you ride on him, draw a card. Nothing special here. One day we'll get different starters maybe things that interact with them more. Anyway, moving right on to the grade 3s, we're playing 4 of the Super Dimensional Robo DAIYUUUUUSHA. This guy is the base form of DAIYUUUUUUSHA. It has two very good abilities that work right in tandem with each other. First one, if his power hits 35k or greater, he gets crit +1. Then his second is once per turn, rest any amount of your rear guards. He gets 10k for each rear guard rested. So it's a lot like the old DAIYUUUUUSHA, except he actually enables himself, so he's good. This guy is really important. He's how you generate the constant crit pressure in the deck, the constant on-hit pressure, just the free criticals, the free power just flying around. And he works really well with all of our grade 1s because they all kind of like do things while they're still rested, so it all goes in tandem with each other. The deck has a lot of great synergy kind of revolving around this card. Everything kind of springs from this guy and hitting those power thresholds, so he is really good. Really good. Way better than the original DAIYUUUUUSHA. Next, we have, also way better than the original, but the original wasn't bad, Ultimate Dimensional Robo Great DAIYUUUUUUSHA, another 4 of absolutely essential. So he has two very strong abilities. So his first is when he's placed, 3 of your front row units get 10k until the end of the turn. Combined with the Force Gift, that's a 40k power spread the second he hits board, which is kind of crazy. His second effect is what's really crazy in how he hits board, because from the hand, at the end of the battle that your grade 3 Vanguard attacked, and it's 45k or greater, so that's where Big DAIYUUUUUSHA comes in there, hitting that threshold. And if you didn't ride this turn, so you can't, like, you know, just dunk on your opponent while they're on grade 2, Ezel style, you can Counterblast 1, ride him as stand, and he gets 10k. So he's going to be hitting a 50k power spread when using this skill, spread across the entirety of your front row combined with the Force Gift. This card is insane. You get multiple Vanguard attacks. This guy is the absolute win con of the deck. He generates so much power, pressure, card advantage. I mean, it's literally just free quad drive. That's essentially what you're doing every turn you're using this card, and this card is absolutely insane. Easily one of the best VRs that any clan has gotten. This guy is the entire workhorse of the deck, and that's fine because that's how Dimension Police is supposed to operate. The Vanguard is the powerhouse. Then rounding out the grade 3s, yes, there's more, we have Masked Police Leader Silbard. This guy is short, sweet, and simple. No gift, and if your Vanguard's 30k or greater, he gets 5k power and +1 crit. This card is really frickin' strong. Like, this is just a completely free, basically conditionless with the kind of deck that this is, critical on your rear guard. Now you can play the Miracle Beauty instead. This card's not bad, very respectable, very respectable card. But this guy, I just like him a lot more for the constant crit pressure. Like, he's just really easy, really free. Like, I can just slap him down with nothing else and he's gonna put work on his own. Like, even if you're only ever swinging with like him and your Vanguard, like that's 2 crit swings like every turn. Like, he's so good. Sometimes I wish I could play 4, but like even 3 is kind of a lot, but he's just that good that I can definitely like justify playing it in here. Like, I have no qualms just playing this free critical card. So moving on to the grade 2s, we have undisputably the best grade 2 of the deck, Dimensional Robo DaiDragon. This card is really bonkers and really free. So he has Vanguard and Rearguard once per turn. You can Soul Blast 1 to give one of your Vanguards 5k. So there's a couple cards that kind of have skills like this, and they're just going to be helping DAIYUUUUUUSHA hit like that, the base DAIYUUUUUUSHA hit that 35k threshold, because essentially if you put your Force Gift on him the second you ride, he hits 23. Then with 1 rest by his second effect, he hits 33, and then with 1 other card giving him 5k, he'll be at 38, but essentially you'll be hitting the 35 threshold. So you ideally want to see this card, or there's another card that does the same thing. Spoiler alert. But so he just kind of helps you get the consistency going of hitting those power thresholds. And then second effect is if your Vanguard's 35k or greater, he gets 10,000 power. So he's just going to be swinging for 20 like on his own, 30 with a gift, 28 with almost all of your boosters. He's just really good. Like, there's nothing else you really want to be attacking your opponent with, either him or Silbard. Like, there's just a lot of free power going around, and when the crits start coming in, it gets super scary. On the Great DAIYUUUUUUSHA turns, he's 38 with most of your boosters. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's really strong. Moving on, That's where things kind of get a little weird, but I mean, if you're familiar with this deck, probably not that weird. We have 4 Miracle Dandy, so I am playing like the kind of defensive Miracle Dandy, or just Dandy deck in general. So this guy is, again, he's very simple. If your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, he gets 10,000 shields. So he's just free 15k shields, whether you're guarding from hand, whether you're intercepting, but like you probably don't want to play this on board because your opponent will just kill it. But I mean, if it baits attacks, like that's also kind of fine because it's still doing its job to some extent. He is 9k in a force deck, which kind of sucks, but like it's really not a big deal. You don't want to call him anyway. It really doesn't matter because you pretty much always just want to be attacking with these guys. So not calling this isn't a big deal. I mean, then like I said, if you do have to call it and it baits attacks, like it's still doing its job. It doesn't really hit good numbers or anything, but also fine because you don't really want to call it unless you're on like a big like Daiyuusha turn or something like where you just have so much power flying around that it really doesn't matter that he doesn't hit 18 because this is saying hit like 27 or 37. He's really, really good, and he kind of makes a little more sense once we get to some stuff later on in the deck that we'll find out. And then rounding out the grade 2s, we have 2 of the Mad Scepter X, the Car, just the 10k vanilla with 10k shield. There's a lot of things you could play right here. I really just kind of like this because it goes in the, kind of goes in tandem with the whole like defensive idea we're going for here with like the dandies and stuff, and it just helps. The 10k, the 10k helps a lot. The 10k body is strong. I like it. There's a couple other things you could play like you could play Grander, but like I don't think he's very good because he's not live on the Great Daiyuusha turns. This card is poorly designed. I don't know what they were doing. Cosmo Beak is okay. Kind of boss 1 to give him and your Vanguard 5k. It has been really good for me sometimes through testing, but a lot of times I kind of just wished, like, if I'm spinning a Counterblast to try and get myself to the threshold, I'd probably rather just Laurel, and then he eats up Counterblasts for Laurel and Great Daiyuusha in tandem, because you have to play Laurel regardless, so it's awkward. Probably the most viable offender for this spot is the Miracle Cutie, just on hit draw a card if your Vanguard's 30k or more. This card is really good. Multiples of this card are really good. Like, it's definitely not bad whatsoever. This is just kind of what I personally prefer as far as like, you know, I mean, like, the general logic is like if we're trying to just mostly just call these to swing with anyway, like this being a 10k shield is already kind of a +1 if you use it efficiently in guarding. Obviously drawing a card is better than just this kind of like variable +1, but they're not too far off to where I can still justify playing something like this, but these could definitely be Miracle Cuties if you really wanted to, and you could also be playing just like a lot of Miracle Cuties in general if you really wanted to. It is a very respectable card. Moving on to the grade 1s, we have the indisputable best grade 1 of this deck, Dimensional Robo Brave. So this guy has the same first skill as the Dragon, where you can Soul Blast 1 and give your Vanguard 5k. Again, really, really good, because you want to see you basically want to see either this or Dragon by turn 3, so you can really easily turn Daiyuusha's 35k on without having to rest more than one thing. And in general, it's just really good if you're struggling to hit that 45k threshold, like if you get stuck on the Great Daiyuusha and you don't find the base Daiyuusha, you want to see like 3 of these so you can get that +15 to your Vanguard. So come out with the Force Gift and the boost, you're able to hit your 45k. Regardless, this is a card you want to see, at the very least, for its second effect as well, because when your Vanguard hits a Vanguard, you can Soul Charge him from the rearguard circle and draw a card. This is really, really nice. Like, he kind of gives you, he helps you refund your soul a little bit, because you are trying to expend a lot of it with these two and another card that we're actually about to get to. So his Soul Charge is actually quite, or her Soul Charge? I don't know. This robot's Soul Charge is actually quite nice, and then it's just free drawing, which really helps you dig for your Great Daiyuusha, because seeing these consistently, like at least 1 by turn 4 and then 1 for the following turns, that's how you win the game with this deck. Like, that's how you close games out with this deck. There's not a lot of other ways to do it unless you just are lucky and your opponent runs out of PGs, but that's not a win con. That's just fate occasionally liking you. So next on the grade 1s, we're going to have a card that I have a really love-hate relationship with. So this is Commander Laurel, so the new Commander Laurel. I'm going to get right into it. He is a 6k. And his skill is Counterblast 1 and rest 4 of your regards. Choose a unit, double its power and critical. So this card, a lot of times, it can honestly be a dead card. Like, I'm not really crazy about this card. It can be a dead card a lot of the times. Like, when you're hitting your thresholds fine without any, like, other help, like, you don't need this card. But then sometimes, like, you get stuck on this first, and then you don't see any of these, and you're like, wow, this deck actually doesn't do anything now. I can't even hit, like, 30k thresholds for this thing's power and crit. So, like, sometimes it's really bad, and you kind of just have to play this card for those situations. Or sometimes, like, when he kind of gives you, like, a little bit of a freedom, too, though, because, like, once you go into your first great Daiyuusha, you can put the Force Gift, like, if it's really value to put it on, like, a rear guard that has, like, a Still Bard or something on it, you can not worry about putting it on the Vanguard, because next turn you're going to Laurel anyway to double your Vanguard's power, just so you can hit the Daiyuusha threshold again for the other great Daiyuusha in your hand, ideally. It kind of gives you a little more freedom to work with your power there, which I do really like, and it's kind of consistency in general. I don't like drawing it when it's a dead card, but I really like drawing it when it's not, and that's kind of the essence of the Commander Laurel. He is the necessary evil, kind of like how his original was, in a way, necessary evil. Then the next grade one we're going to go on to is, I see a lot of people not playing this card. I really like this card personally. This is Dimensional Robo Tiger. So he is just similar to Brave, just without the power gain skill. When your Vanguard's attack hits a Vanguard, move him into the Soul, and retire an opponent's rear guard. This is just like completely free, like almost conditionless, like retire anything you want in a completely non-retired deck, which I think is really, really valuable. Like, there's a lot of matches where there's just, like, things you really want to kill. Like, Mag Colony can have some stuff you want to kill. Tachikaze has plenty of things you want to kill. I love killing, like, Sonic Novas and stuff with this. Like, this card is just really just strong in general. Like, I think there's a lot of uses for it. And at the end of the day, like, it's just free pressure. Like, even if your opponent can't tell, like, how good the retire is going to be, well, I guess they could, but like, it's just more free pressure. Like, there's not really anything else I want too badly in these spots anyway. He could be like a 2-of easily. Like, you could easily cut one for maybe like a third Mad Scepter X. But like, they're only running 12 grade ones anyway, and I really wouldn't want to go much lower than that, especially because like you need to kind of like see these a little more. But I think it's just a really nice card. Like, I don't see any problem with running it, and I really do enjoy personally running it. Next, rounding out the grade ones is 2 Dimariners. This card is quite strong, sometimes. So when you play Dimariner, you can Soul Blast 1, give your Vanguard the skill that when your opponent guards from hand, they have to call 2 cards from hand. So it basically says, if you want to PG me, you have to pitch another card as well, which is really nice. I mean, just on play, snipe a card of your opponent's hand, essentially. That's really strong. That is really good value. But at the same time, like, that's only going to really, like, absolutely go off when your opponent is, like, at least at 4 damage. Sometimes when they're at 3, if, like, they really don't want to risk you getting a crit for game, like, on a base Daiyuusha, this 2 crit swing. Like, but for the most part, like, sometimes it just kind of incentivizes them not to guard, which sometimes is good for you, sometimes is bad for you. Like, it really just all depends, you know, if you sack them or not. But mostly, like, you really want to just kind of see this card in the late game when it's going to be, like, really valued to just get free cards out their hands. So that's why I'm only playing 2. You could play more, but I don't think it's necessary. Like, I don't want to see the card that early. It also kind of, like, coincides with the Soul Blast uses of Brave and Dragon. So I think it's really just fine as that little 2-of slot. There's really only, like, one other grade 1 I could see, like, you realistic playing in the deck, and that is Dilander, if you will. He just says your opponent can't intercept. I tried this card for a lot because, like, I thought I really liked this card, and I really wanted to like this card, but because, like, it just seemed like such a strong blanket effect to have. Like, your opponent can't intercept if your Vanguard's 30k. Like, that's just all the time. But at the end of the day, like, I kind of ran into the problem where, like, I wanted to see more things like Laurel and Mariner and stuff like so that's more a little crucial to, like, the winning image of the deck and the consistency of the deck actually going off like it's supposed to, rather than just playing, like, some, like, you know, generic, like, power card for, like, you know, just because it's, like, really good on paper, but it doesn't actually synergize with the deck whatsoever. So it's not as good as I thought it was. I think, like, you can definitely play it. Like it is a respectable card. It's not bad by any means, but I just don't personally prefer running it. I like this lineup. Kind of makes things a little more smoothly for me. Maybe, like, in a different meta, a different time of the game, maybe one day it could be a lot better, but not right now. So going on to the triggers. Triggers are kind of funky. I guess we'll move Goyusha right here. So we're playing 4 heals, naturally, because healing's really good. So I've heard. We play 4 die battles crits, and then 8 draw, 4 being the Diamond Ace PGs, of course. So we're playing this lineup. Move you down here, Goyusha. We're playing this lineup essentially because the idea of the deck is that you don't really need crit pressure to win, because Daiyuusha will always be 2 crit. By the time you go into this, they're probably on 4 damage, or usually at that point they'll be letting, like, your on hits go off. So, like, and then you have Silbard generating free crits on the rear guards. Like, you don't need a lot of crit pressure in this deck because, like, your opponent can't really ever afford to risk those types of things anyway, or they're losing already. Like, you don't really need crits to close out the games right here, but what you do need to close out games, by all means, is Great Daiyuusha. And the 8 draws just kind of help you, like, find the Great Daiyuushas. The whole idea is, like, if you just have all the right cards, like him, you know, base Daiyuusha, Great Daiyuusha, all your power-ups and stuff, like, to make your plays, like, once you have all those cards, like, you really just go hard and you generate all the powers and criticals that you need. So the 8 draw just kind of helps you find those cards that you want. And then when it comes to, like, you know, defensive wise, that's really where, like, I say, like, the dandy comes in later, because with the dandies 15k, the 4 15k shield dandies in your deck, you essentially have the same amount of shield in your deck as if you were running 8 crit. So that's kind of the idea behind that, and the scepter just kind of plays into that a little more because you're trying to be really defensive. Damage checking these is also, like, always phenomenal. So that's why that's there. It kind of just keeps the whole deck running smoothly. Like, I've really liked the 8 draw. Like, hitting 1 or 2 draw triggers, like turboing through your deck and hitting one or two draws before, like, turn 3, like, it just puts you so ahead that, like, and, like, hitting like criticals like that just does not have nearly the same effect, and it's more of like a glass cannon thing, whereas this is just consistent value into your cards so that then they can generate their own crits, which is, I think, better because it's more consistent. Really, that's all there is to say on this deck. This deck is really, really strong. It has a bit of a tough time against, like, protect decks and anything that can generate, like, a lot of hand, because they can consistently, like, PG a lot of your stuff. But at the same time, like, if all goes well for you, you burn through their PGs, like, you don't have, like, you burn through their PGs really, really fast and really, really hard. You don't have, like, the cheesy win con capabilities that you might have against other decks, like, you know, low hand Excel decks, where you can just kind of be like, oh, you know, you didn't hit your all-in, so now I just gimp you with my big crit attack because your deck is bad and doesn't have draw power and you probably don't have PG, etc., etc. Like, you don't have that against the protect decks, but, like, you still eat through their PGs fast and you apply a lot of pressure to them. You just kind of have to worry about, like, surviving their stuff. Like, as long as you just, the whole deck is like, can I just make it to my next Great Daiyuusha? Can I just make it to my next Great Daiyuusha? Because that card is just this card is just such a swing in, like, the state of a card fight. Like, it's really insane how strong this card is. And when all goes well, like, when the stars align for this card, it's absolutely insane. Yeah, that's pretty much the deck. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, interest, etc., etc., other synonyms for interest, just comment down below, message me, whatever you want to do. Drop a like or comment or whatever. I don't know how to do all this. It's been too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, take care. Till the next one.